The following was brought to you by Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport.
Hello, everybody. I'm Beth Troutman here at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Now, this airport has become a critical hub in the fight against human sex trafficking. And today, on this special edition of the Balancing Act, we'll meet those on the front lines in the fight against human sex trafficking. We'll also meet folks in the community working to help spread awareness and hopefully put an end to this terrible crime. And most importantly, we'll learn what each of us can do to help. This special edition of the Balancing Act starts right now. Starting off, I had a chance to sit down with the mayor of Atlanta, Dickens, to learn about his perspective on the issue of human sex trafficking and what the city of Atlanta is doing to combat it. Thank you so much for your time today. I know that this is an issue that's really, really important to you, and I know a lot of our viewers are thinking about this now, but why should they be passionate about this issue and care about this issue?
Yeah, we should all care about this issue because it's one of grave importance to all communities. You know, Atlanta is home to the world's busiest and most efficient airport that we're in right now, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. And our success could also be grounds for people that want to do mischief, individuals that want to take advantage of our most vulnerable people like our youth. And so sex traffickers may come into our city via the airport or via a truck stop or anywhere else, looking for opportunities to prey on these individuals. Thankfully, here at Hartsfield-Jackson, we have dedicated airport employees. We have our concessionaires. We have a lot of our partners in law enforcement who say we're going to say no to sex trafficking and human trafficking because it's a deadly crime and it's one that can really cause harm throughout our community, whether someone is a victim of it or whether someone knows of victims or around individuals that are treating people wrongfully.
With the work that you've seen the airport doing, that you've seen in your community, the work that you yourself and your staff have been doing, have you seen progress?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some progress in that. Times past, people didn't know what to do. Now we are very clear with signs posted all across this airport, whether it's in the bathrooms or just via the announcer over the PA system. And it's also with some of our concessionaires and our vendors. They know how to tell signs of stress to be able to look for indications of, is this person reaching out for help because they don't know who they can turn to? Well, in this airport, there are people watching and looking for, are you in danger? And so that has been helpful in identifying challenged people that we can bring to justice and also restore folks to their families.
Now, there are thousands of people watching this episode, and some of them right here in Atlanta, some of them your constituents. How can they help?
You can learn more by studying and looking for information on human trafficking, sex trafficking, and as it relates to the city of Atlanta and this airport, you can definitely talk to airport officials. You can go on our website and see our stance on it. And you can also learn from law enforcement about ways that you can be helpful. And if you see something, say something. That's the most critical thing. Voices that raise the red flag and say, hey, something's just not right with what I see happening to this young person, or something's just not right at this household where it seems like human trafficking is taking place. All it takes is a phone call to 911 or to share your thoughts with somebody that's in charge here at the airport.
Thank you so much for your time today. I know you're incredibly busy, and the fact that you took time to chat with me means the world.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for raising this issue.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
One of the most significant parts of fighting human sex trafficking takes place right here at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. To learn more, I sat down with the airport's interim general manager, Jan Lennon. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you so much, Beth, for having us and giving us an opportunity to talk about our story and what we're doing to help end human trafficking.
Well, this airport is just absolutely incredible. Tell me why it's such an important location, an important hub in defending and preventing human sex trafficking.
As you well know, this airport hosts over 100 million passengers every single year. These people are coming from all over the world. So we thought, hey, this would be a good awareness site for us to train everyone and educate everyone about human trafficking, because the more you know about it, the more you will help us prevent this insidious crime.
Well, let's talk about what it is that you all do. You put a focus on something you call detection and protection. What does that mean?
Detection is giving our staff and the community the tools that they need to look at something and say, oh, this looks suspicious. How can we help? And then the protection piece is all the people that's trying to help them, giving them the resources that they need to survive mental and physical counseling. Also, some of them need housing. They need to get reintroduced into society because, again, this is such a mental and physical crime that they have endured that we need to do more to help them.
You know what's remarkable is that you all are putting focus on not just preventing human sex trafficking, but also helping, like you just said, the victims.
Yes, and help the victims.
So what kind of, in the time that you've been working on this issue, what kind of progress have you seen?
We have seen great progress. First of all, everyone that receives a badge here has to take a human trafficking course, again, education. And that has been very instrumental with us because at this airport, as of today, we have no known human trafficking cases at this airport. And we are truly excited about that. We have a great public safety commander here and our APD is excellent and so are our employees.
And this is the busiest airport.
The world's busiest airport and most efficient airport in the world.
So that means the work that you are doing, it's working.
It's working.
Thank you so much for spending time with us. This really has been an incredible experience.
Thank you so very much, Beth, and I thank you so very much again for all that you do to shine a light on this insidious crime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stick around, folks, because we have more conversations with the folks who are the boots on the ground when it comes to combating human sex trafficking. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to this special edition of the Balancing Act. Right now, I'm thrilled to be joined by Major Kelly Collier III of the Atlanta Police Department. Thank you so much for spending time with me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, what's fascinating is you all have a huge presence here at the airport. Law enforcement has to play a big role in combating human sex trafficking. Tell me about your role here.
Yeah, so our role is extremely important here at the airport. As you know, sex trafficking is a global crime that affects a lot of people. It's very disturbing and it exploits people for profit. It's usually done by means of coercion through violence or threats and false promises of money and or jobs. And our job as airport law enforcement is to ensure and understand that airports are possible transit points where victims can be transported across borders.
What do you do specifically in your role to help combat human sex trafficking?
Well, it's extremely important to have robust screening and reporting mechanisms here at the airport. Reporting is extremely important because sharing of information from one law enforcement organization to the next, state, local, and federal partners, that intelligence really helps us with investigations.
What are some of the signs that you look for?
So some of the signs are if someone does not have the documentation on them, someone else has it. That's one thing that human traffickers do. They like to take passports, identification, driver's license, for example, from the victims so that the victims are not free to go. We also train our people to look for signs of distress. If someone's in distress, they're withdrawn. Human traffickers like to look for individuals and prey on individuals who do not have the support system. That victim can be resilient and fight against. And see, that's one thing that we don't discuss enough is victims. They need that care after they've been brought into the system. Talking to us after the fact really helps us gain a lot of intel and a lot of information on how things are done, what we can do to combat human trafficking.
Well, we're going to have more conversations about that today. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you
You're so welcome. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been such a great conversation.
And thanks for covering this important topic.
Besides law enforcement, city leaders, and airport officials, there's a focus here from everyone at the airport on the importance of being the eyes and the ears. Right now, I'm joined by Donna Hubard, who is a flight attendant. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I know that you work as a flight attendant, but I want to find out a little bit more about your personal story.
Well, let me start by saying I was looking for love in all the wrong places. I was young. I was a young mother at the time, naive, and I wanted to fit in. And when you have children very young, you don't always fit in certain places. I was fortunate enough to get a job as a flight attendant. I was flying and thinking I was living my best life, and I met a man who told me I was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen, and he dated me and courted me and took me to wonderful places and dressed me up, and took me to a party one time, Beth, in a penthouse. Oh, I thought I was really living large. And I was drinking champagne, had never tasted champagne before. But when I woke up, I was being violated, and I never saw him again. He left me to be sold that night. And I managed to get home the next day, but I couldn't get away from my memories. And I took my children and ran to California. I fell into the hands of this wonderful young woman and her sister, and they lived with her husband. And they helped me find, they kept the children for me while I looked for work and helped me find food and clothes. And 2 months after I got there, he told me he was a pimp, and now I owed him. And if I didn't do what I was told, they would take one of my daughters. I had 3 daughters at the time. And so all I could think of, Beth, was I needed to stay alive. If I didn't leave, they were going to kill me. I left and went to Minnesota, and where my mother was. She didn't know anything about what was going on in my life. And it was in Minnesota that they found me again. And that time I knew that they were planning to kill me. And the only way for me to escape was to go to prison, because I would be out of their reach. And so literally I got arrested and did not allow them to bail me out of jail. I had to go to prison to get free, because it was behind those prison bars that I found my freedom. It was behind those prison bars that I found who Donna was and how to survive, and that I was worth saving.
You know what's remarkable now, knowing this part of your story, then when you were released from prison, you decided to become a flight attendant again.
Yes.
And then use these skills, all of the things that you learned about yourself, to recognize the potential danger in other passengers.
Absolutely. So I'm really grateful that I had the second chance. American Airlines gave me a wonderful opportunity and hired me in spite of everything that was in my background. And I don't think they've regretted it since. This year, I was assigned a task to redesign the human trafficking training for American Airlines, and to include my video of my personal story for the pilots and the flight attendants, so they can understand that it can happen to anyone and put a face on it. And so I'm able to see things that other people don't see. And sometimes that's what traffickers count on. They count on us not being able to see what we're looking at, and not having the time to take out of our own personal lives to see what's going on around us. And they choose airports to do this in, because there isn't a place on earth where that many people move that quickly in one space than in an airport.
This is what is so incredible about your story, from the heartbreak to the incarceration to helping train other people, and as you say, giving them tools to empower themselves. You've created an organization called Woman at the Well.
Yes.
And you're helping other victims.
This is our 30-year anniversary this year. And in 30 years, we've been able to assist over 10,000 women. We've helped to reunite 5,000 families. We've trained 3,500 public aviation and airline employees. We have trained 1,700 law enforcement and 1,300 public health officials. And being a bishop for Celebration of Praise, I've been fortunate enough to travel around the world as well to train faith houses, every faith houses, on how to recognize and report it, because our houses of faith still have to be a sanctuary for people who want a place to be rescued.
Donna, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Beth. It's been an amazing opportunity. I can't thank you all enough, and the people here at Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, for making this opportunity possible to spread this message.
Well, we love you. And please stick around, everybody. We have more of this special edition of the Balancing Act on the way, including how victims of human sex trafficking are finding a safe place thanks to a very special organization. Welcome back to this special edition of the Balancing Act. Now, there is no doubt that the crime of human sex trafficking is devastating. But for the victims of this terrible crime, there is hope. I'm here with Eliza Rioch. Her organization is called Youth Spark, and they are helping victims. Thank you so much for spending time with me this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, first of all, just tell me a little bit about Youth Spark. What is this organization?
Yeah, well, Youth Spark was created out of a need and a recognition of an injustice. So we were founded in the year 2000, which was incidentally the same year that the Trafficking Victims Protection Act was passed, which is the law that created the term trafficking in the United States and calling that a crime and saying that people were victims of that crime. And so Youth Spark was created to be an alternative to prosecution to young girls being charged with prostitution in the Fulton County Juvenile Court. I am proud to say that today, myself and most people would never put the term prostitution and child in the same sentence. We now recognize this as a crime of human trafficking. We have continued to grow as an organization since the year 2000. We provide case management, group support, and we also just provide a place where young people can be children. And so we have our flagship program, Voices, which is for young girls who have been identified as being victimized by trafficking or who have been identified as really high risk. For young people who are experiencing trauma and could use services with an LGBTQ lens, and then also for young men in our community who are experiencing in-home and community violence.
And let's talk about, because of places like Youth Spark, the hope that's out there for victims.
I'm so glad you said that because it is really important for people to understand the nature of this crime and the unbelievable things that young people have survived. And when a young person comes to Youth Spark, we're not saying, who was your trafficker, what happened to you? We're saying, hey, are you hungry? Do you want to play Uno? Like, let's get to know you and ask you what you need for help. And they have bright futures ahead if we give them that opportunity.
And they're helping other folks
Absolutely,
as well.
yes.
Eliza, thank you so much for spending time with me this morning. I so appreciate this entire conversation.
We so appreciate you all bringing light on this important issue.
Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing our conversation with Candace Brown. She is the Assistant General Manager of Public Safety and Security, and Joy Brown, who is the Assistant Director of Events here at the airport. Ladies, thank you so much for spending time with me.
Thank you for having us today.
This is such an impressive place, and Joy, you all have a lot of events coming up in this area.
Absolutely. As we gear up for FIFA, SEC Championship, and other sporting events that are happening here around the city, we make sure that we work very closely with our public safety and security team to ensure that whatever does not need to happen in this airport or Metro Atlanta does not happen. The buck stops here with us.
How do you prepare for that?
So we're already preparing. We are going to be on the world stage, and we want to make sure that everybody has a good, successful event. We partner with our state, local, and our different advocacy groups to make sure that we are addressing human trafficking here at this airport. We do tabletop exercises with our different partners, and we're scenario driving our different events to make sure that it's a successful event here at the airport.
And if there's one takeaway for you from all of this experience that you've had working here, what's the one takeaway, Joy?
That we're such a big community. Our airport operates like a city, and we are a safe city. We want to create a warm and welcoming environment, not just for us here at the airport, but our passengers and everyone who comes through.
And what about you, Candace?
I think we have a moral obligation to make sure that the public safety and security of this airport is for everyone.
I think it's pretty remarkable too, with all of the people who come through. This is the busiest airport in the world. You feel and you know that the people who come through are safe and secure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending time with me today. That's all the time we have for this special edition of The Balancing Act. If you'd like more information about what's being done here at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, you can visit their website at ATL.com or visit our website, thebalancingact.com. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Beth Troutman. We'll see you for the next edition of The Balancing Act.